Hi there, I'm James Blower, or JB, and today I'm going to do a short video to show you something that I've been asked for a lot recently by different customers, and been asked to POC, which is an Active Directory authoritative restore using Veeam, where we automate as much as possible. So using Veeam Recovery Orchestrator, VRO, I've automated as many steps as possible, and I'm going to run through this demo as a video to show you the steps and how to do it. So first of all, I've just put some slides together to give you an overview of the lab environment for the POC that I've created. So you can see I've got PR cluster 1, DR cluster 1, and then I've got a separate management domain. So my main production is veeam-whole.local. And then management is vwhole.management, where my VBR Enterprise Manager and Veeam Recovery Orchestrator server VMs are sat. Then in production, we've got PRWS22-DC1 primary domain controller, DNS, and holds of FSMA roles. I've got some other servers like a file server, web server, Docker. Then over on the DR cluster is my Veeam hardware repository, DR Rlin VHR1, and a second domain controller which doesn't hold any FSMA roles but does have DNS replication to it, and that is DRWS22CP1, which is also a CDP proxy. So first of all, I'm going to basically take down my domain and production effectively, and then once that's down and the domain controllers are down, to simulate an outage, a corruption, or a ransomware attack where a bad actor has taken out the domain. Then we're going to use this clean room type recovery, and first of all bring back that veeam-whole.local production domain using Veeam Recovery Orchestrator and our automated procedure. Then we'll take a look at the results, make sure we can get onto our domain once it's recovered, and then I'll go through the execution report which Veeam Recovery Orchestrator has produced to show us step by step all of the steps taken to do that recovery, like the RID pool, like the resetting the computer account, for example. So here are the steps that I've had to put in additional. So anything with the numbers. So we've got our pre-auth restore to tell Veeam we're doing an auth restore. We've got our reboot. Then we've got bypassing its sync, config network if we need to, reset the admin pass, stop global catalog, raise the RID pool, cease FSMA roles if necessary, metadata cleanup, reset the Kerberos password twice, reset the computer account, and then once we're happy with all that, we reset the re-enable the global cat, verify that the ports are up, global cat port and domain controller, and then finally do the final stage of the restore. And that's it for now. There's more information on the community page where I'll be posting this, and on our hands-on labs. So into the lab. We can see I've got my three windows: Veeam Recovery Orchestrator, I've got VMware vCenter, and I've got my Veeam Backup Replication Server. So here's just my backup I've got for my Platinum infrastructure, which is my two domain controllers as I mentioned earlier. We can see VMware production cluster with our web server, Docker, vCenter, domain controller, and the other bits. So we've got VBR ready to go, vCenter, and now I'm going to start my recovery plan, which has all the steps in to automate that authoritative restore process. Now what it's going to do is shut down DC1 and CP1 just to simulate that the domain's off. You could delete it, you could remove it from inventory, however you like, but we'll see the steps as I go through. So normally for most things we do with Recovery Orchestrator, we would use data labs and do a data lab test, which is Veeam's isolated lab environment, it would spin this up and it would do a full DR test for us in the isolated lab, and then give us the results, tell us how long it took, produce the DR report. But for this one, I'm actually going to do the full failover. This is what's been requested for the POC, and this is to show you and make it a little bit more real. So because the plan had been reset and disabled, I need to enable it. Enter credentials to make sure we're not just failing over everything to DR by accident. We can see my last pre-plan check was a success. No warnings, no errors, that's good. And now in terms of recovery location, I've got the default original VM, I've got DR, and I've got DR no re-IP. So in this example, we might have recovery plans where I do want to re-IP. My production is a 172.16.1.x and my DR is a 192.168.1.x. However, the domain controller has got a network interface in both, so I'm going to go for the no re-IP. Even though one of my plan steps does check for a re-IP, that's just there if you needed to do that as part of your process. I'm going to use the latest restore point, that's fine. And I'm not going to check for malware in this case, just because this is a lab simulation for the auth restore. Go ahead and finish that, and that's going to start the process. You see my remote desktop has ended that I had open because the machine's just been shut down. And we can see the steps beginning. We've done our pre-plan. And now restore recovery has begun. Shutdown source, as we can see, DC1 is now shut down. And as the DR replica begins, we're going to wait for heartbeat and then it'll start going through the steps. So we can see VMware's already started to do some bits. That's registering the machine, and we can see my PRWS22DC1 underscore restore underscore Vero restore is now in vCenter in DR as part of the recovery process. And if we click on that, we can see the steps as they're happening live. You can see it's recovered successfully, and now it's powered on, and we can see it booting. That boot up process beginning. Okay, so we're now just waiting for the VM to boot. I can see it's at the logon screen, but although it's at the logon screen, Veeam Recovery Orchestrator is a little bit more cautious, and it just is going to wait for it to be logged on, heartbeat, and for some of the services to start. So we'll give it another minute or so, and then it should be on to the first stage once heartbeat's on, which is to set the reg keys to tell Veeam and the machine this is an auth restore. So now it's recognised that the VM has booted, it's checked the IPs, and it's checked the heartbeat. So now it's on to my first PowerShell script, which is to set the reg key to tell Veeam, to tell the machine that this is a Veeam Active Directory Authoritative restore. And then the second script will reboot, and then we'll wait again to check the heartbeat. So there we go, the execution is completed successfully, and as we see, it's just rebooted, and now we've just got to wait for that to come back. So our machine's rebooted, the heartbeat's back up, we have bypassed its sync, verified the DNS port, and now it's just pre-configuring the network, which I expect a failure because I don't actually want to re-IP it here. It's just a step if you should want to do it that I've got ready, and then it'll be on to reset the admin pass. There we go, the error as expected because the IP that the script is going to set is already the IP of the machine. So our network as expected failed. We've reset our admin password, we disable the global catalog and we've got a warning. That is part of my script to throw back some feedback. That can be removed if you wanted to, but I like it there to let me know it's worked. RID port's been raised and invalidated, then raised. We've pre-seized the FSMO roles, but it already has the FSMO roles. Metadata cleanup, and now we're just resetting the Kerberos password twice. Then the computer account. So now our auth restore steps are done. We've verified the domain controller ports up and the global cat, and now it's the final migration stage and then the rename. So this bit is moving it from my backup storage to my production learn, and then it will rename it. Now for my restore location and this job, I keep the underscore restore so I know the difference. But if this was a real failover, you wouldn't have that, and it would just replace the old name with the new name you've given it. I'll just wait a few moments for that to finish up. So our steps are complete, our domain is back. I want to go and log in and then run some tests. It's just logging in now. So if we first of all check the RID manager. We can see the pool is extended and valid. And we can see the DC diag passes all of its domain tests bar the time, because I haven't got a verified time in my clean room, and any sync that's going to the secondary domain controller, because it's no longer trusted. We'd have to, once that restore is finished, retrust that one, because we've reset all the intersite links, we've reset the computer account, so that will no longer be a trusted domain controller, which is what we want. Finally, we can see it's restoring the secondary part, which is our CP1, but I'm happy with that. The next part would be to go in and re-add that secondary domain controller. Thanks for watching.